Hey, folks, welcome to Affiliate Nerd Out. I am your nerderator, Dustin House, spreading that good word about affiliate. You're going to find me here every Thursday at 12:15 Pacific time, so put it on the calendar. Stop by for some live interaction. But today, this is a pre-recorded show. My buddy, Lavin Punjabi, CEO over at Affinity. Thanks for joining me, and welcome to the Nerdatorium here, Lavin.
Hi, Dustin. We're very happy to be on the show. And you know what? I love the show's name, Affiliate Nerd Out. I call myself a nerd in the affiliate space. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having this chat with you, man.
Good, good. Yeah, it's a rite of passage. It's a badge of honor in my mind to be a nerd in something that you're passionate about, something that you want to that you're intelligently speaking about. So I'm glad we could have you today. You and I met at PI Live just about a month ago, and
That's right.
we had a quick meeting, and you told me all about your products, and I was just really impressed that you're solving so many problems in this industry. And I just love companies that are solving problems to make this industry, elevate into that next level.
Sure. No, thank you. I mean, I enjoyed the chat myself. Uh, PI Live is a show that brings out a lot of people from the industry and lots of, experts. And I love getting out to that show, just, meeting people like you. Looking forward to this.
Awesome. You do a lot of shows outside of PI Live. Are you just circumventing the world here, like circumnavigating?
Well, given that I operate a large like a portfolio of businesses, yes. So I end up visiting display-oriented conferences, so more like the IAB events, and then affiliate conferences, search conferences, because we're in that industry too a little bit. So a little that we dabble in a little bit of events from various different industries, but and then also doing this across not just the US, Europe, India, China, and APAC. So I do spend a lot of time on the plane and
It
at
sounds
events.
like it. Yeah, you're a busy guy. So glad you could make time today. Well, if you'd like to be in Levine's seat, come be a guest. Go to dustinhouse.com/nerd and drop in a request to join me and nerd out about a topic of your choosing. But without further ado, Levine, who are you?
Well, I'm an ad tech geek, I'd say. Broadly speaking, I would say, affiliate is a subset of ad tech, broadly speaking. But I began my journey in ad tech 18 years back accidentally.
Okay.
I was right out of college, and then this buddy of mine was like, "Hey, why don't you just?" The senior actually from my college is like, "Hey, why don't you join my company?" And like, we're doing stuff in ad tech, and I'm like, "Well, I have no idea what this is about."
Hmm.
Entered, and then from that point on, it's been no looking back. I just, slid into this industry, found out lots of different problems in the industry, and then set up a business 4 years out, which is Affinity, which is what I operate today. And yeah, well, I would say I'm an entrepreneur, and then eventually became an entrepreneur by accident.
Okay.
And that's a separate long story that we could dive into at another point. But yeah, an entrepreneur by accident, just got into the industry, and over the course of the last 17, 18 years, solved lots of different problems, dabbled in every little space around ad tech. Outside of work, I'm also a father to a 4-year-old son, a happily married man, and I have a large team here operating out of India, which very proud of, not just India, but around the world.
Mhm.
But yeah, so professionally, personally, that's me. Uh, yeah, that's Lavin Punjabi.
Okay, perfect. And you touched on this a bit on like how you got started in affiliate. A true affiliate story, like never heard of it in a lifetime, and all of a sudden just got thrown into it and fell in love essentially, and started fixing these problems. So, tell us a little bit more about that background, like how you got to today.
Sure. My journey began in 2014, around that time. Around that time, I was operating a domain parking network. Now, I don't
Mm,
know if you would know what domain parking is. These are basically domain names which are just registered by a bunch of individuals, but you know, they don't know what to do with it. But back in the day, before Google search, before search became a big thing, this is very general behavior of people typing in addresses in the address bar. Candy.com, cars.com, various different addresses. And again, this is all predating search. But the point is, there was this large domain community, and then somehow I was attached to this community from the start of my journey in the industry. At one point, we ran into this various concerns saying that these domains were all being monetized by Google, but now Google was either shutting down monetization or wasn't good at it. So all these domain owners are like, how can we monetize these domains better? Uh, Enter Lavin. I'm like, hey, maybe I could try to solve this. Uh, we went after the problems. You started getting in touch with various different advertisers, started connecting domain names with advertisers. But then the easiest way to get access to a lot of advertisers at scale was the affiliate industry. So we're like, hey, why don't we tap into, start bringing out use cases for various advertisers? At first, advertisers were a little wary, saying, no, we're not sure if we want to do this. But then eventually it worked. We connected domains and typo domains to the original brand names. It solved a lot of problems for advertisers and marketers. And then little did I know, we went from literally in 2014 when we began. This was at we started off at zero advertisers, and we went from zero to 1,000 merchants plus or advertisers that started buying our supply because they're like, oh, this is cool, this is unique. It's I'm not getting it from anywhere else. It's driving sales and conversions. We love it. And in a matter of time, we went from driving like literally zero to about $500 million in sales in a matter of a few years. So that was my entry in the space. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I connected this sort of niche industry of domain traffic to the affiliate universe, and we created new value out of that. That was my first calling with affiliate, right? Like that's
Okay.
on the backs of that, we then went on to, but at some point I realized that there's a cap, like there's an upper cap. Like how much deeper, how much more can you do with domain traffic? Because
Hmm.
you cannot generate new domain traffic. It exists in its form, which is how many people are organically typing in these addresses in the URL bar,
Mm.
right? So I can't get more people. I can't change human behavior and get them to just type more, because around this time is also, Google's Chrome came out, lots of browsers, the browser wars were happening. Search became stronger. So as search became stronger, people's need to enter addresses in the URL bar reduced quite a bit. So it was sort of like it was a declining sort of industry in a way, uh, the domain traffic part. So we're like, okay, okay, so we unraveled something new, we uncovered it, we grew it, but then this has headroom. So how do we go beyond?
Yeah.
And then honestly, like one thing led to the other. We discovered new formats. It was the drive to create more value for advertisers. And these 1,000 merchants kept coming back to us saying, hey, we love your traffic, but it's finite. We want to do more with you. We like your quality. We like the fact that you're so transparent. What can we do more?
Okay.
And so in that vein is where we discovered more formats, more traffic sources, and we in a way created a lot of unique ones. One of the other, so domain typos was one, but the next big thing that we really went after was browser tiles. So think of it this way: every time you open your browser, you have a start page in front of you.
Hmm.
You open new tabs at least 5 to 10 times a day because you want to go to a new website, or
Yeah.
you want to search for something. New
Some
tab
will
is
just
very.
have 50 open at a time. So
Yeah, exactly. You have active 50 tabs, but remember, those all began with a blank tab, right? When you open a
yeah.
new tab, Command T, new tab, what do you see? Depending on what browser you use, you either see a search box, and right below the search box are these little icons, bookmarks, if you may.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, well, it seems like there's a lot of browsers out there, a lot of bookmarks out there, but none of these are monetized. Could we make them a native ad? And we
Ah,
did. And so
awesome.
today that became our second innovation, and we created a whole business around that, and that's called VV. The typo business was under, the site plug, and then we built VV under, we built the browser icons or the browser tiles as a separate business under VV. And like that, my journey with affiliate and my interface with the affiliate industry began 8 years back with these journeys. And over these years, basically, both Vivi and SitePlug have become two large sub networks that today drive over $2.5 billion in sales for no, actually about 2,500 odd merchants in US, UK, India, and APAC. So like,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So
So Affinity came about from, you jumping into this industry. How did this name come about? What's your name origin story of this?
well, that's another long story. But this began. So we originally began off. So Affinity was actually a web hosting company
All right.
out of Fort Lauderdale in the US. Now, uh, my parent company, Hostway. Now, again, this was a parent back in 2010, 2014. Things changed, but in 2010, uh, Hostway, which was the parent company of everything I do, said they acquired a web hosting company because Hostwave was a web hosting company. They went and acquired another web hosting company in the vein to expand their business. They acquired Affinity, took the entire customer base and put it under the Hostwave umbrella. And Affinity was left with it was a shell of a company, meaning a name, but no true business under it. And I, as the advertising business of Hostway, operated as Hostway Advertising. So I'm like, hey, I don't want Hostway Advertising. I could use Affinity. That's how Affinity really came about. So I, in a
Okay.
way, inherited Affinity from an expensive
Wow.
acquisition that another company did. But
Okay.
I was given that domain name and that identity, saying, "Oh, I'm like, this is a great identity for an advertising business." So
Yeah,
it fits well.
I like
And so
it.
that's how it was again a chance coincidence that this really
All
happened.
right. So you kind of fell into that name. I was thinking like you guys were that name in itself is like an innovation in this
Yep.
industry. Like Affy Stash, my SaaS product is stashing affiliates. It's like it's meshing two worlds together with
Yeah.
affiliate. I saw what you guys were doing there, but um,
But
okay.
just to be very clear, this was not designed or planned to be anything around affiliates.
That's
Affinity
funny.
and affiliates is just a it's just coincidence that it happened. It was not designed that way.
Huh. That is interesting. All right. So what do you guys do and who are you serving out there?
Affinity serves advertisers and publishers at large. We operate two themes of business at Affinity. Uh, and the core mission for what we stand for is to uncover or unravel new frontiers for advertising, which means how does that begin? That begins with us identifying new media landscapes or touch points across handsets or across various devices, operating systems, like various different touch points that users are accessing on a day-to-day basis, but under monetized and are not converted into media, and there's no advertising business behind it. So what we do is we really bring about the infrastructure of advertising behind new media touchpoints, and then our infrastructure supports both branding and performance. That's broadly speaking what we do. But if you had to kind of zoom in further, there's two themes behind this. One is a network business and one is a SaaS business. By SaaS, we focus. So by networks, like I said earlier, we operate two sub networks, VV and SitePlug. That's part of the network part of the business. We do operate two other networks. One is a programmatic network, and one's a top funnel branding ads network with bespoke formats called mCanvas. So we operate a bunch of things. You can go and anyone who's listening to your
Mm,
podcast can go to affinity.com and look at all the portfolio for businesses.
yeah.
And on the SaaS side, well, one of the things that we very consciously chosen to do is go down the path of publisher SaaS. Now, by that I mean, SaaS tools designed and developed specifically to solve publishers' problems. Because if you ask me, there's a dime a dozen tools out there that are solving advertisers' problems. And I see
Yeah.
why, because that's where the revenue flow of the ad tech industry really begins, right? Like that's the glacier, if you ask me, where the revenue really streams out of there, which is the advertiser. So it makes sense to be very close to the advertiser front and, as close as possible, solve advertiser problems. Sure. But one of the areas we've stuck to as a business is publisher problems, because we see, advertising cannot exist without publishing. And the publishing side has been taking a beat of late, in the last few years. The large big tech firms have beat them up a few times in different shapes and forms. We have more recent problems the coupon white labels are facing in our industry.
Hmm.
So over time, I'd say publishers have taken quite a big, they've taken quite a beating, as well as, monetization in general is kind of fading away. AI is disrupting a lot of things. I mean, if you ask me, their life is constantly going through changes, and
Yeah.
and they're not
So,
consolidated as well. They're broken apart. And I feel like the need for solving pain points and technology problems there are also significant enough. So we're like, okay, let's go. Let's just focus on publisher SaaS. So as a company, then what do we serve? We serve advertisers and publishers both, but more publishers. And on
okay.
the advertisers, we serve mainly on our network side, but for publishers, we both on network and SaaS side, we serve to them.
Well, I'm glad you're serving both sides, and then you can put yourself in the shoes of both sides as well and make better products ultimately, which is a really good thing. And I feel like, being that my journey as an affiliate has made me such a better affiliate manager because I know what they're going through essentially. But for
Yeah.
the brands out there that are watching and the affiliate managers, you mentioned you had a couple of sub affiliate networks. Are these
Yes.
in particular niches and verticals that you guys have?
I'd say e-commerce is a big, yes, e-commerce, travel, uh, taxes, services, subscriptions. I'd
Great.
say those. So we don't do much lead gen or anything that has an online sale or transaction. Those are verticals that we do cater to.
Okay, awesome. I've got a client in the medical field that I think might be a fit there. So we'll have another
Sure.
conversation or somebody on your biz dev team. But
Yeah, I would love that.
all right, awesome. And then it sounds like you're solving a lot of problems for the publisher side of the equation. What does this process look like in terms of like you found a problem, now what are we going to go and do about it?
Well, the discovery of problems, firstly, is a key part to the process, right? So
Okay.
now I spend personally, I myself lead, so within the organization, as much as I play the role of the CEO, I do also play the role of the publisher side of the business, which is I lead all publisher operations, sales, whatever have you. With that, I end up having conversations with a lot of publishers on a day-to-day basis. Like I'm constantly either having a physical meeting or a online meeting, or traveling around the world to meet publishers and to discuss more about how they can improve their monetization.
Hmm.
While in this process, we I've discovered like these deep conversations reveal pain points, problems. And then when you hear these same pain points and problems across various conversations, you're like, okay, there's a common pain across all of them. Now, if you did go and solve it, how big of a problem are you solving? What's the addressable market behind it? And if you were to, let's say, hypothetically, take an industry which is a $10 billion industry, and by solving this problem, you can make it a $15 billion industry. And of course, there's relevant math and science and all of that behind it. Oh, well, if you can add $5 billion to a whole industry, then okay, how much money you can make out of it, and establish your TAM, and then really identify how much to invest behind it. Uh, but so firstly, I'd say how we solve problems, listening in very closely
Hmm.
on what the pain points are. That's the very first key step. Second key step is, we've exercised our muscles in solving our mental muscle in solving these problems a few times around. So when you
Hmm.
do it the third, fourth, fifth time, you're just a lot more confident. You can do it much faster. Three, I couldn't have done any of this without our solid tech team. We have a very core, strong product and tech team that operates here in Mumbai, and we've been working together from the inception days of Affinity to date, and we're a very strong core team. So because of that, I'm the guy who brings in the problems. They're the ones who develop it. I kind of co-create with them as we go along. And then we always convince publishers to somehow, okay, let's do this first test. Let's solve that problem you spoke about. I've got a solution. And we always try to make these solutions easy to use, light, it doesn't impact publishers' pages or workflows if you have to. Yeah, well, that's really the process we take, if you ask me, to solve publisher problems and
Okay,
develop new tech
awesome.
around it.
Just boots on the ground, talking to the people in the industry and what their issues are. That's great. I once I've done surveys before to affiliate managers, like, hey, what's your biggest hurdle out there? And overwhelmingly, it has been a nightmare of a situation where publisher applications are coming in faster than ever out there,
Yeah,
and it's all AI generated. Like publishers are writing some script and joining all these programs, and it's become really annoying in the affiliate industry. And I've
interesting.
often thought about like solving that problem, but I don't have the wherewithal. If you build that tool, I will buy it for $20 a month. I don't. Like, I just need that thing built out. Please go and do that. Like, um,
Sure. I mean, see, now that's an advertiser side SaaS problem, right? Because you're coming at it from the brand side or the merchant side, or
mhm,
the affiliate manager, I would say in this case, is brand side, right?
for sure.
But the but we're talking about the other side of the pond, which is the publisher side. So in fact, I'd love to help publishers apply to more programs if you have to, and get them access to more merchants and get them better payouts. And I'm trying to build software and tech for publishers
Yeah.
solely.
Okay.
That's my mission.
All right. All right. It's not going to be you. That's not a problem.
It's,
But
yeah, I won't
maybe
be
this,
solving that problem specifically. There are a few other vendors,
yeah,
but I'm on the flip side, on the other side of the pond.
maybe somebody listening out there will go and fix this problem for the industry and
Yeah, yeah.
sell a whole bunch of them for $20 a month. So um, let's talk about these problems. What are you guys solving right now on that publisher side? If you could give me you've got three products. What are they all doing with a higher level view?
Sure. So the three products, they're solving three different problems, and I want to zoom in on one because which is relevant to to your audience at large. So I'll broadly speak about the three businesses. One is called
Okay.
Opinary. Opinary is a company we acquired out of Berlin about 12 months back. This is a company that helps publishers collect valuable first-party data from consumers while they're reading news stories.
Hmm.
Let's say I'm reading a news story about an electric vehicle that's just launched. Okay, well, midway through the article, a poll comes up, a simple one question poll. Are you in the market for an electric vehicle in the next 2 years? Yes or no? If you do say yes or no, then that data. So remember, we as humans have an inherent need to provide an opinion.
Hmm.
We love sharing our opinions with everyone.
Okay.
Now, while you're reading an article, which is usually a passive sort of engagement, suddenly you get a question. You're like, oh yeah, I am in the market for a car. Now, just so that you know, about 15 to 20% users consciously engage with this data. Engage with the polls, thereby submitting first-party valuable data, which then pipes into the publisher's DMP, and then the publisher in-house could use this data for various different purposes to just better understand the demographics, to run ad targeting against it, to modify their website and personalize their CMS on the basis of that. They could do a lot of different things around that first party data. But today, a big problem with the cookie dying, all publishers are scrambling for how do I get more first party data? How do I understand my
Mm,
audiences better? So this is a tool that solves that.
smart.
Opinary,
Love it.
that's one. Two is AdOps One, which is an AI. It's an AI for operations. It's a for publishers using Google Ad Manager. So, Google Ad Manager is a large de facto sort of display ad server for the publishing industry. Lots of publishers use GAM. It varies country to country, but globally speaking, I'd say they have a 85% plus market share. Now, operating GAM is a challenge of its own because you need resources, you need people to operate day-to-day stuff. Can AI do this far more efficiently than can it help your small ad ops teams do more? Yes, it can. It basically helps the publishers, and again, every publisher does not have the bandwidth and the revenue to really operate their own in-house teams. So sometimes they outsource it, but instead of outsourcing it, if you just let the AI do it, far more superior experience, generates lots more revenue. We've seen publishers who use the software have generated between 50 to 100% more revenue compared
Oh,
to just doing it manually, right? So just remember, the AI doesn't sleep. The AI is constantly calculating. The AI doesn't have a dog. The AI doesn't take a break. The AI is constantly at it. And not just that, it actually becomes like a Jarvis for that, like just like the Iron Man suit. Like it kind of gives you so many tools and, tricks that you can fly around, solve these problems really quickly without being, without worrying about the time it would take behind it, because the AI is just aiding or accelerating what a human could do.
okay.
So that's what we're seeing with AdOps One. And then the third business is called Nucleus Links, which is the AI for affiliate ops. And this is the part that I'd love to dive into more detail, because I think this is where the audience of your show would find it more relevant.
Yeah.
Now, what is the problem that we're solving here? Now, fundamentally, if you ask me, the ad operations in affiliate is very cumbersome and manual, and if you ask me, is a
Yes.
little it's dated. Now let's look at it from the publisher perspective only, right? Not advertiser perspective. What is the typical path that the publisher takes to set up monetization? Now, let's say you as a publisher, like, oh, okay, well, I want to monetize merchant A. Could be whatever, like could be an Expedia, it could be whatever, right? Now, from the process of identifying it to then discovering how to monetize it, discovering all the networks behind it, then going and negotiating a deal, setting it up, getting the link, appending the tracking parameters, validating, testing it, pushing it into the CMS, goes live, post that, check if everything is working correctly, get the reporting. This whole process takes 30 to 60 days for one merchant.
Okay.
Now, if you were to so because it takes so long and you've taken so much effort to get it from zero to activation, you're like, okay, well, this is good, I'm done with this, let's move to the next merchant. Because now think about doing this for 10,000 merchants, because coupon sites, affiliate sites, extensions, all the different publishers in the affiliate industry are not operating with 5 or 10 merchants, they're operating with hundreds or thousands. And we know of some publishers that operate with over 150,000 merchants.
Yeah.
The largest coupon sites out there, and I won't name any, but the number one, number two operate with over 100,000. And I'm like, guys, how do you do this stuff manually? They're like, we just don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
They don't.
they're like, do you think we have the time to deal with this? We just have time to deal with the top 20% merchants, right? Simple classic Pareto principle at play, right? Like 20%, let's just address 20% of the merchants. Sometimes they don't even go, when I'm saying 100,000, they don't even go to 20,000. They
Right.
just like, let's just stop at 2,000, because just doing that has taken us a few years. We can't imagine coming around the remaining. So, and I'm like, wait a minute. That's like, so I'm like, how much? So today, it's like you're seeing there's an iceberg in front of you, but you don't know how deep that iceberg goes.
Sure.
That's exactly the same problem these publishers are dealing with. That they're monetizing just 20% of their merchants. They're making today in their head, they're like, oh, we're making 100% revenue from just these 20% merchants. So why should we care about anything else? But that 100% is just off the 20%. You don't know how much more you could make, because you don't know how much money you could make of the 80%.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, okay, that seems like a significant problem. And then I went and verified and ratified, like validated this with like 20 different publishers. I sat them down, one to one at various different conferences, took them out for, just like a coffee or a drink, and sit down and discuss in detail one to one. And I learned that this is a classic problem. I'm like, okay, well, this is a problem that we could solve, because if I could now suddenly help all these publishers, and if every publisher that I've spoken to is monetizing just 20% of the merchants, that leaves 80% of the merchants out there ripe for monetization, and nothing is being done about it. Now, why is anything not being done about it? Very simple. Publishers operate with the classic set it and leave it mentality. Well, I set up monetization for Expedia. I got the link. It's going. It's running fast. It's running fine. Yeah, I may get a 5% today, 10% tomorrow, 12% later. It may go down. I may get a fixed fee. All of that may keep varying, but I'm still working with one network, one monitor, like, one Expedia, one network, and that connection just continues to operate for a very long period. And publishers don't want to shake that in any shape or form,
Yeah.
right? But now, so that's because everything was done manually. But now, how do you operate 80% at scale? It's not possible to do it manually. The only way to do that is AI. So we're like, okay, why don't we just have AI come in and solve that problem? So we went down this path of saying, okay, well, let's break down this process and see how AI can help every step along the way. Step one, discovering the network. Today, most publishers, the classic way of doing it is they're either going to a conference or they're logging into their CJ, AVIN, Impact accounts and seeing if the merchants are available. And then just that's their universe. But little do they know that there's, for every given merchant, there's possibly 15 or 20 different networks out there. So we built a tool that helps the publisher first discover what network can monetize what merchant. So step one, can we make the search process simple? So we did. We built in pipes and that lead into like over 100 different networks, suck out all the merchants that are available inside that, and then build a consolidated database which is a searchable, simple database for publishers. If you want to activate monetization tomorrow for any merchant, all you got to do is search the merchant name, search the country, enter, boom, out come the list of the networks. It comes with all different contextual parameters. So, who's the network? Do you need an application? What's the process?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of aids the hunting process. We then dive into the next process of building the links. We've basically built APIs into all these different networks where the link building is no longer a manual process. It's just a click of a button. Okay, discover the network. Okay, I found 50 networks. Add. Oh no, sorry. Let me rephrase. I found 3 networks for this merchant. Add. Now I can add 2 or 3 networks for every merchant. I don't need to add just one. I'll get to why later. Now, okay, well, how do I build the link? Click, 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 done. The links are built. I don't need to now sit and do this manually. 3, you get one URL out of Nucleus, which you then put into your website or your CMS. The traffic flows from your website to Nucleus and then to your respective network.
Okay.
And then we're constantly switching between these networks to yield optimize. And then just basically it's built in with yield optimization. So it's not just one network. Now it'll yield optimize between 3 or 4 different networks. And all you really need to do is not take any manual decisions. Just keep throwing merchants and networks into the system. The system keeps cycling through all of it, all the different options, and finds out best monetization for you. And it drives value. So now suddenly your entire mid to long tail, which is under monetized, suddenly starts seeing a lot more revenue.
Okay.
To give you an example, Dustin, we have a very large buy now, pay later app out of the US that uses the software. They put just 2% of the merchants, which is from their mid tail, just 2% of their merchants behind our software. And we've helped them unravel $1 million of new revenue in the last 4 months.
Sweet.
It's brand new. This is $1 million out of thin air. They didn't even think it would come from anywhere.
Okay.
It just suddenly popped in because, again, this is now, mind you, they make millions of dollars on their top 2% merchants because these guys operate over 100,000 merchants at large. But in their top 2-3%, they make a shit ton of cash there. But then in their mid tail, which they were ignoring another 2-3%, they're like, okay, we'll give it to you. And we just unraveled $1 million in your revenue. So I'd say there's a lot of hidden potential in using AI to automate the entire selection, setup, monetization, recycling, and reporting process. I didn't add here, we also do reporting. So, which means that like what Trackonomics does at large, that's just a byproduct for us, whatever Trackonomics does. So in a way, we basically, all the reporting across multiple affiliate networks, we consolidate all inside one platform. And that's what Nucleus Links does today. Now, that was problem number 1 that we went after. we then did go after another problem too, which is smart buttons.
Uh-huh.
Simply speaking, think of it as a living, breathing button on content websites.
Yeah.
You have a content site that reviews and articles. You write a review of a certain product, then there's a button, but that button is usually a static. And pardon me saying this, it's a dumb button. What you're doing is you're saying, "Oh, I want to recommend a Walmart product here, or a Bloomingdale's product here." I'd set that link and then leave it. Now, what happens if the product goes out of stock? What happens if the person comes in from another country? What happens if there's another merchant offering a better deal on the same product? Who's changing all of this? Everyone's operating with a set it and leave it, or set it and forget it mentality.
Yeah.
Whether it's the editorial teams at these content sites, or whether it's the operations teams at the back end of coupon and affiliate sites. It's just like there's a lot of manual work. So we're like, hey, let's just revolutionize this. Let's remove the manual work behind it. Why don't we just let AI do a lot of this day
Yeah.
to day? And it does solve problems. Now, in the smart buttons case, we're seeing that publishers are seeing more engagement because now the button is alive. It's constantly evolving. It's changing. And then the links behind them are getting updated automatically.
Yeah.
And the right path for monetization of each merchant is being found. So in a way, it sort of works like it does have a multiplier effect when you do both smart buttons and smart redirects. And I may sound geeky, and this is exactly what your show is about, no doubt. Like I love getting into the weeds of these things and really pointing out the problems and the errors that people most commonly just ignore. And why have they been ignoring it? Because it's all manual.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they don't want to do anything automatically. And because no one's built technology for this all these years. So we're
I
like,
have
hey,
I have beaten my head against a wall with the button situation on my WordPress website, and it is so annoying and it's so hard to keep up with. Links change all the time. I use smart links and uh, have a redirect so that I can just change one link rather than all of my links across all of my content. So that's helpful, but keeping those updated is really annoying. Sounds like a great problem you're solving there. And as far as the publishers go, would you say your database is essentially more coupon sites that utilize this, or more content sites?
Uh, I mean, so we have two different products. Smart redirects can be used by any publisher accepting cashback today. We haven't solved the problem for cashback publishers specifically, but whether it's comparison shopping services, or content sites, review sites, coupon sites, extensions, all of them, there is a use case for using nucleus links
Hmm.
for smart redirects. And then there's another product for smart buttons. And that the buttons product is more a fit for content sites who do have buttons in the front end. Because if you ask me, coupon sites already have their buttons sort of standardized. They don't change their
For
buttons. They
sure.
don't need to. They're not featuring products. They're just like, hey, click now to get this coupon. It's a different button in the coupon universe versus the content universe. So no, we've built product to make the addressable market across both content and coupon at large. And just everyone else accepting cashback. Cashback is the only thing that we haven't really solved off for yet.
Okay.
As it's something that we're figuring out how to really solve that. But today, those are the two types of publishers. Actually, yeah, those are the types of publishers we're catering to.
Awesome. And I've always told my affiliate managers that I've trained throughout the years, and the folks that are listening here, to um, make suggestions to really good publisher tools to the publishers in your affiliate program, because if you help them make more money, you're going to look really good and your program's going to improve. And it is a
Yes.
really good suggestion to help your publishers in your program to get better at driving sales. So this falls right into that category. I assume you have an affiliate program for all the affiliate managers to join and start passing around your product here.
Well, you'd be surprised. Actually, no, we don't. But we are coming up with a referral program where that
Okay.
is coming up pretty soon. My team's actually working on launching that pretty soon. So yeah, we will have that shortly. Uh, yeah, I mean, if you ask me, we started this product about a year back. It's taken us a while to get to the stage. We're knee deep in just building unique product and solving day-to-day problems. and we're very proud of the large. We have a very solid list of publishers that are in the process of testing or early stage. Very excited about driving results there. I must add, every publisher that's come on board has seen at least a 50% lift in revenue from their mid to long tail merchants.
Okay.
So,
Fantastic. That's great to
yeah.
hear. All right. Well, moving on from that, like, what are the next problems our industry needs to address in a quick
Oh,
fashion?
man.
Is there anything that you have like in the coming stages that you're going to address?
Yeah. I mean, so we thinking about it, I think there are some players in the industry that are solving the CMP problem, this whole consent management and that breaking affiliate tracking. That's a very large problem,
Mhm.
if you ask me. It's affecting monetization of a lot of publishers, and it's not good. It's not clean. It's just somehow I feel like the affiliate industry is just looking away and not really addressing the problem head on. Uh, there might be vested interests and hidden motives behind some players to do
Hmm.
that, but irrespective, I think that is a big problem to solve. Uh, and are we doing something about it? No, I think there's experts in the industry that are doing something about it, but I'd say like we're not really solving that problem because it's something that we cannot, as from the publisher side. It is a problem on the advertiser side slash the consent management platforms. If you ask me, it's not even actually an advertiser problem. It's the consent management platforms that are creating the mess around the cookie and the definition around it. And you could also say the industry bodies are kind of being a little slow about listening to the pain points and really saying that the affiliate cookie shouldn't be looked at as an advertising cookie, but is an essential cookie for just day-to-day stuff, because like the publishing industry is getting damaged by this change. So
Yep.
I'm very pro that it should be fixed, because me being on the publisher side, I need my publisher's revenue to come back up, and I'm very motivated by that.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's a big problem that I think should be solved. Outside of that, if you go outside of the affiliate industry, CTV has a lot of problems to be solved. I think that's ripe for innovation completely. Like I know there's a bunch of players in our industry, in the affiliate industry, that have come with CTV solutions where, hey, I can make performance. I can drive performance for you, dear advertiser, by using CTV. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. uh, but yeah, if you come to really think about it, TV, as much as it's called a branding source, if you ask me, is actually a performance source. We've called it branding all these years. We've called it branding all these years because, TV is what influenced our parents to go to the store and buy things,
Sure.
but it was just never measured. So the
Yeah.
convenient name for that was branding. But if you ask me, it has been historically one of the largest performing, sources. And now, come today's generation where CTV is emerging, and everyone's like, "Oh wow, CTV is not a branding medium; it could be a performance medium." Yeah, no, like of course, it for all these
Yeah.
generations has been driving performance. So why do you think it won't drive performance now in this new avatar?
Yeah. Or
Uh,
well,
that,
I mean, we're evolving into like having a call to action on TV commercials now, which is
yeah,
the evolution of our marketing, and I'm
yeah,
glad that's coming into the affiliate world for sure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
all right, as we wrap things up, I want to make sure to get to this question: the future of AI. This is on everybody's
Love
mind.
it,
Is it
love
going to
it.
take the jobs of like people that are working at publications? Are you killing jobs right now? Is that
No,
what's
I'm
going on?
actually no. I'd love to. I would not, of course, love to take anyone's job as a human. But let me rephrase what I love to do. Uh, but the problems that we are solving as a company, firstly, are not risking anyone's jobs. Is actually making people 10x more efficient. That's how I see it.
Yes.
Because the ops people in various companies whose jobs we're actually helping them do 10x more is because typically these teams are small. Ops teams and
Yes.
most publishers are really small teams. So in a way, we're not taking away jobs. We're helping them show off and do far more superior work to their management teams. So no, in no shape are we taking jobs. But will AI take jobs? Yes, in general, across different industries. I think journalism is taking a big beat right now. Because of AI based, editorials that are coming out. Uh, Various other industries will take a beat, but well, at least the industries we're focusing on and the people and the functions that we're focusing on, no, we're not in any way trying to take anyone's job away.
Okay.
But our publishers in general going to be impacted by AI? I think publishers actually stand to gain the most from AI, more than
Right.
losing anything. I think they will stand to gain the most. Whether this is the publisher management team, the publisher business as a whole, publisher sales, publisher ops, like every function of publishers, they'll be able to do a lot more with AI. And I think in a way, I don't think publishing is going to be as affected. I'm sure there's different perspectives to this, and this is a much more detailed chat I'd love to have with you at the next conference. Just sit down and
Awesome.
really poolside chat, over a drink, just get into the weeds of it. But for a short 2-minute answer, no, yeah, I don't think the AI is going to affect the publisher industry at large.
Okay. And I totally agree with you. I would say it almost might be helping people get hired because the publisher revenue is growing. You can hire more people to expedite this solution and amplify what you guys are doing in terms of revenue, and you can hire more people. So I think it's a job helper if nothing else.
Yeah.
But totally another discussion. All right. As we wrap up here, how do we connect with you?
I'm available on LinkedIn, Lavin Punjabi on LinkedIn, or my email, lavin@affinity.com. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. Well, I really appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for hanging out, nerding out in the nerdatorium, and I'll be sending you some folks here shortly. I'm really excited about your tools here.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time, Dustin, and really appreciate being on your show.
Oh, awesome. All right, folks. Till
All
next
right.
time, keep on recruiting, and we'll see you out there. Take care.
See